I don't always catch 10-pounders with wire to fish. I catch 11-pounders too. We started the day in the deepest part of the lake. We idled around, we found some bait, balls of bait that is, looking for them setting up in winter pattern, and they were doing it. The bait were, but the bass really weren't on them. We got a really high pressure day. Sun's gonna be out, little no wind. What is there is north wind, so those fish have been tucked to the bottom. We've got a couple follows, a lot of fish just ignoring my bait completely. So what we've decided to do is we're pushing back into the timber. We're gonna start scouting around inside this timber and see if we can find some active fish. It really looks like one of those days where, you know, a bottom bait or maybe even getting around the bank and swimming a jig around the deeper portions of grass are going to be, you know, definitely something that someone can do. We're kind of trying to do some suspended things, trying to throw some jerk baits. We're trying to get some footage for that. So, you know, and that's one of the things we just want to do for fun. So the thing that's going through my mind right now is that we need to find what potentially could be the most aggressive fish in this environment. And in my mind right now, we're coming from the fall transition into the winter. We need to go back as far as we can get any kind of depth in the channel close to the fall flats where those fish have just pulled back and still have a little bit of that aggression in their personality. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna idle back. We got a north wind, so we're gonna go all the way back to start in the back and then work our way out of a couple creeks and see if we can come into some fish that are still semi doing the fall transition into winter versus the ones that are in the winter holes. There he is. Golly, dude. Up in the flat. First fish of the day, and he ate it too. Not. Sliced at that sucker, dude. Okay. We on him now, right? Yeah. Well, first fish of the day, 2 1/4 probably. We have pushed all the way in the back. I mean, we've been all over big fish today and have not been able to get them to trigger. And we just now kind of pushed into, we got a little ditch here with a straight vertical drop. And for the most part, that's where these fish have been holding on these vertical drops. And I threw this one kind of more up in the flat. Saw some fish on the bottom and just kept on reeling pretty quickly, and he ate it. So points are always a high percentage location. It's an ambush location. You know, the wind can go either from the north or the south. You know, you'll have different points created and point lines in grass. But in timber, you know, it's also something that's really important. If you look along here, you got a little row of trees and it comes out and creates a point right over here and then cuts back. And so you got a change of location. So if you had a limited time or you want to look for something that's high percentage, you know, concentrate on these points. Most of the time, that's a high percentage area. Sandies? Is this Sandies after all? Nope. Ah! I do know how to catch a fish. Oh man, and he is so cold. You know why? He just Tell me a secret. Tell me where they're at. Here they come.
Yep.
Got him. Oh. Oh man, it's been so finicky. This fish were down at the bottom of the base of that tree. There's two of them together. So I parked this jerkbait right over their head. And I think that it's starting to heat up today. These fish actually came up. He came up a lot more aggressive. So I matched him with a little bit of speed and he actually ate it. There is several fish around this tree. They got the same personality. I might actually put this thing back in the box, even though we're just playing around today, so he doesn't go and spook all these fish. Tell his buddies not to eat. But oh, it's a pretty fish. Jerkbait fishing, live scoping. They will not pay attention to an A-rig. Absolutely will not. They won't eat a jig. You have to get them on a reaction bite. We're in these trees, we're in this timber. So lining up your cast, getting oriented the right way to make sure you're not gonna get hung up, and then learning how to read that tree to cast to it. Like this fish was 10 foot down in the bottom, and that jerkbait was only going 3 or 4 foot down. So as he started coming up to it, I let him get close enough, and then I started working him. So pretty fish, 2.5 pounder, good for any tournament day. Okay, so we got going on here is we get this tree. It's right on the ledge of a channel. The channel's on the other side. We're up on the flat. We're positioning downwind. And I've got 5 or 6 giants inside this tree. And I say giant, somewhere between 3 to 5 pounds. Good ones. And they're in the heart of it, and big old limbs out here. And the only way we've been able to get bit today is with the jerk bait. So it's gonna be really tricky. I'm gonna put this jerk bait in the heart of that tree. We've got it weighted a little bit where it's just gonna slowly sink down to them. So I'm gonna try to get bit and try not to get hung up, and then try to get them in if I get bit and not hung up. So we'll see how this works out. And I got one looking at it already. Here he comes. Trying to pull him out away from the tree. Oh yeah, it's a good one. He's circling it. Oh, he's spooked off. He's coming back. He's got a buddy with him now. Still 2 fish on it now. We've moved about 30 foot from the tree. They're just following that jerkbait. There he goes, got him. It's a good one too. Good tournament fish, good tournament fish. Pulled that fish 30 foot away from that tree. Oh, it's better than a tournament fish, bro. It's a daggum stud. It's a giant. It's a stud. It's a tournament fish. I'm just gonna let it take its time. It's barely hooked. See if I can get more hooks into it. I think I got more hooks into it there. And that is how you live scope giants in standing timber. You got us another 6 or 7, don't we? Okay, so we just caught a 7.5 pounder, and we want to explain how we live scoped in dirty water, live scoped with a jerkbait around a tree with, I mean, it's got a radius of arms 30 foot wide underwater. You can see about 10 or 15 foot of it right there. And the interesting thing is you've got to come from downwind out these fish when you're live scoping. You can't be upwind because those fish want to follow. Well, they'll follow the boat and the boat will drift on top of the fish. So I have to be downwind. But just like any fish that's actually ready to ambush, that fish is actually sitting on the upwind side of that tree, on the opposite side. And I can't throw this jerkbait through that tree, and he's down too far to throw, you know, anything else. So what you have to do, and what I did is I lined up and I used my live scope to scan where the arms of the tree were at, and then I made a cast just as close as I could next to the tree beyond that fish. and that fish came out from inside the tree and came out sideways. And he actually followed that jerkbait about 30 foot back and ate it back here.
I'll catch him. Oh my gosh, got him. No, you didn't. I was joking. Shit.
It's important to me to land it.
Oh, I brought it. Oh, what are you doing? Get ready. That's freaking begging. That's a damn hammer.
Oh, oh, oh.
Wow.
Oh man.
So tell me what just happened.
What just happened? I think I just went double digits back to back days. What happened? Oh, oh Lord. Oh man. I'm working this tree over here and I saw this big old fish out in the flat. And I tried to jerkbait her, nothing happened. And so I picked up the A-rig. She's a double, isn't she? And went past her a few times and she came at it pretty dang fast. So I gave her the speed and dude, she train wrecked it. I got her 1144. Yeah, I do.
Wow. What do you